This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries. We're your hosts, Grace and
Alexis.
And we're so happy you've joined us for yet again another episode, hopefully on Saturday morning. But if you're not listening on Saturday morning, that's okay. Do your thing. Listen whenever.
You do you, boo.
Yeah, you got that freedom. I want to start today's episode out with a very special shout out. And by the time this episode comes out, a congratulations to our one dear friend, as sometimes known as Lenny, previously known as Catherine Lennart, but now known as Catherine Bradley, for she just got married. And congratulations, Lenny. And we love you. And we just wanted to start the show out with that. Yes. And I guess shout out to your husband, Jack.
Yeah, Jack's cool too. Yeah, sorry.
Hey, Jack.
We love you too, Jack. Hi. But yes, not only one of our biggest friends, not in size necessarily, but in heart.
She's actually very tiny.
Yeah, she's very tiny. But we love her. But also one of our biggest fans, apparently. So hey, we love you, girl, and congrats. And we're actually, as of recording this, we just saw you, and we're getting ready to see you again soon. So we can't wait.
Well, that said, we're here for another Darkwing Duck episode. And this time, let's pass it over to Alexis.
I am taking the torch of justice, the torch of liberty and justice to tell this
the
tale. The
torch is in the form of a duck. You're like the little wooden mallard ducks.
Just on fire.
It's not a torch, it's just a flaming piece of wood.
I gotta make this story quick. I can't hold on to this too long.
This is a bad idea.
Hot potato gone wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're back though to talk about Darkwing Duck, our favorite crime fighting vigilante bird, I guess.
Yeah.
So today I'm gonna preface that today's episode it involves some situations that became very real not too long actually after the episode aired. So let me back up and say this one came out September 25th, 1991.
Okay.
And it unfortunately kind of was predicting the future, the very near future for this episode, and the distant future, in the sense that something just last year very similar to what is going down in this episode happened yet again. And it's actually a common theme in the entertainment industry, a common point of concern. So
what?
Yes, I'm building up a lot. Yes,
okay,
this Darkwing Duck episode.
Is this how you felt during my oil and gas episode of just what is happening?
Perhaps I should have sent you some photos of my face while watching it. I had to rewatch it a few times, to be fair, too, to really grasp what all was going on and how a little too real it was.
Shit. Okay.
But let's dive in here. So the title of this episode is Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlatan. And that's actually a reference to an old, a 60s horror psychological thriller film called Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte. Lol. There they go with the names already, which I'm going to totally go, and I haven't seen that movie before, but I'm going to go rent it and watch it. It's only $3 or $4 on YouTube or Amazon or something. So definitely going to check that one out. I like 60s horror thriller movies. But like I said before, there's a lot of moving parts going on here in today's Darkwing Duck episode. Disney was a little all over the place with this storyline.
Oh, no.
A little all over the place. There are going to be some new developments in our overall character portrayal of Darkwing that we're going to learn about in today's episode.
Okay.
So again, stick with me. Hang on tight. It's going to be a bumpy ride. I'm going to try to get through it as best as I can.
All right, great.
So before we jump directly into his shenanigans, though, let's talk about some current events.
Okay.
And I'm not going to jump right into the darker current events that I alluded to before. Okay. We'll get there in just a second.
Okay.
But we'll start a little bit lighter here. So if you've been watching the news lately, you've probably noticed, and by lately, I mean over the last year or so, you've probably noticed that there's been a lot of union activity kind of springing up across the country, right? Recently, Amazon had some news in that area. We've seen Nabisco strikes. We've seen all sorts of John Deere, whomever,
John Deere.
Yeah. So
coal industry
coal
striking.
miners, exactly.
Yes.
We're seeing it all over, particularly as a result of the pandemic. And so I think it is therefore appropriate to kind of pay homage or kind of, speak a little bit about some union activity as I introduce this episode. I think Grace and I are both generally, we have certain beliefs on that. I'll leave it at that. But I figure this is a good time to maybe pay tribute or to speak to those current events. So the reason I'm doing that is because in this episode of Darkwing Duck, I believe that a particular union would have been very, very on edge and also involved in the things that were going on if it actually took place in the real world, this episode. And what union is this, may you speak? How much am I building up to this?
I know, what union is this, Alexis?
Alfred Hitchcock would be proud with how much I've got people on the edge of their seat, right? No, so what union? It's the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, otherwise known as IATSE.
Ooh,
and IATSE, yes. So IATSE is actually, it's probably one of the more successful unions in the country in the sense that, over the past several decades, overall union membership among all industries has been in decline. I don't know the exact numbers, but generally speaking, membership has been going down. But for IATSE, they have been building and building and building and growing in membership in that whole time of decline for other industries, probably because Hollywood just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
More people are producing films and stuff all over the country. So anyway, IATSE, it was founded in 1893, so it's very old, well over 100 years old, almost 130 years old. And it represents more than 150,000 live theater, motion picture, television production, and trade show, technicians and boom operators, camera crew members. It's all the people, quote unquote, behind the scenes of any sort of production. Even apparently theater ushers in some cases. So when you go to a Broadway play or something, the person who's taking you down to your seat, they are likely represented by IATSE.
Wow.
And IATSE actually, they recently threatened to have a strike just last year in October. A lot of people probably heard about this on the news as well.
Yeah, I didn't realize that this was the name of the union. Yeah, I just remember all the horrible conditions that crews have to deal with constantly.
Because these crew members, I think people don't really always appreciate how much goes into live production. Crew people can be on set, doing a shift for 13 hours a day. And then, they have to be up at the ass crack of dawn. It'll be freezing cold. And then they're there all day running around doing things. And then sometimes they have 2 hours in between shifts before they have to come back and then get right back to it. It's very demanding work. And honestly, with the way society is now, and even during the pandemic, stuff didn't really slow down that much. People want content constantly, so things are always being filmed. New shows are always in production, and these workers were legitimately stressed. And so look, I'm not a union or a union expert or an expert on
You're not a union among yourself.
I am not a union. I am a unitary, one person, not a union collectively. But anyway, so yeah, I'm not an expert in any of this stuff. I just read about it and all of that. But from what I understand, whenever a union wants to go on strike, there are multiple votes that they have to authorize it. So maybe one at the local level, and then one at the national level, and then a couple others before they actually are full on okay, that's it. were striking.
Mm-hmm.
Now, IATSE got through a couple of these votes with the majority. At one point, it was like 98% of members were like, yeah, we need to go on strike. This is not working. But eventually in October, I wrote it down, October 16th, 2021, they were able to reach a tentative agreement with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. So that strike was averted, which is good, because in one way it means that all of these workers, they did get at least somewhat of a pay increase and probably had a little bit more control of their shifts and their schedules and whatnot. And it also meant that all of our favorite TV shows could continue with production and that we could all continue to be entertained.
Kept getting paid and didn't have to.
So that's why I said the first thing first, because let's be real, it's definitely the more important thing. But also, like, a lot of business does come to a grinding halt when these theater workers, and likewise, with like the Screenwriters Guild, with the I guess, I don't know if the Screen Actors Guild has really gone on strike, but when the screenwriters do, that's like when, I think, it was when we were in high school, remember, like all of the shows just like went off air essentially. Yeah, because screenwriters were striking. They were like, fuck it, no, we're not going to write. So these are like very, very important members of the Hollywood, overall business model. And who honestly
literally show business can't exist without like the crews and behind the scenes.
They are much more than just the cogs and all of that. They are the creators that literally are able to put things on the screen that we love to watch and enjoy so much. So what the fuck does IATSE have to do with this episode?
I forgot that we were talking about Darkwing Duck.
Right?
Like, I just got so excited to talk about unions, and I started like literally my partner Justin and I were talking about unions like yesterday.
Oh my God.
I always think of another friend of mine who is like runs campaigns for you to this is a very relevant subject that I'm just so excited to talk about, but I keep forgetting we're not a political podcast.
Exactly. I wish we could talk about it more. Maybe after we're done talking about this episode off camera, we'll continue our chat. But that little very quick brief introduction on IATSE and strikes and whatnot, labor conditions in the entertainment industry, is relevant to today's episode because we're talking about showbiz, baby.
That's showbiz, baby.
Showbiz. I wish I could say we're going to Hollywood or Tinseltown, but they're obviously still just in St. Canard. Apparently, it's a big film area. Who knows? St. Canard's got it all, apparently.
They do.
But unfortunately, before I dive into the showbiz, I do, as I mentioned before, have to talk about now the more depressing, darker current events that are also related to this, both to IATSE and to this particular episode of Darkwing Duck. So now I'm bridging a gap with an unfortunate subject.
Okay.
So trigger warning, y'all. You may remember recently, only just in October of last year, actually, like about a week after IATSE reached that agreement, there was unfortunately a deadly accident when a prop gun was fired on the set of the movie Rust, killing cinematographer Halyna Hutchins. Unfortunately, the gun was fired by Alec Baldwin, and this happened in New Mexico. Now, during the filming, yes. Now, I'm not going to go into, what all happened, because there's so much to that story, and it's being argued as a negligence case, and negligence is just, there's so many moving parts to there's a lot going on. It's still an open investigation. So I'm just going to very briefly highlight it, but that movie set was already, a great cause for concern by a lot of the crew members there. There were like occupational and work safety grievances. People were coming forward saying that they had a lot of concerns about the way some of those producers had operated on sets in the past. And essentially, Hutchins, the woman who died, she was actually a big supporter of the IATSE strike. So she was vocal on social media, being in favor of workers on sets and crew members being treated better, and saw that there was more of a need for that in the industry. So there was another very unfortunate death actually right after you and I were born, Grace. March. So now we're going back a bit further in
history. In time.
Only 2 years, or about a year and a half after this Darkwing Duck episode premiered. On March 31st, 1993, Brandon Lee, the son of Bruce Lee, was shot, again, a prop gun that went off on set or malfunctioned, shot in the abdomen while filming as the lead actor in the movie The Crow, and he died from those injuries, only 28 years old. Yes. And now I don't know, what the deal with IATSE, if they said anything. Yeah. Or I don't know if there were strikes or anything. It's very coincidental that IATSE was about to strike right before the death on the set of Rust. But with Brandon Lee's death, that was just a whole other time, a whole other period. I'm not sure. But nonetheless, this is all just to say that real danger can come on these movie sets, and real tragedies have, hit movie sets in the past. And there is a lot of concern about workplace safety in the entertainment industry. It's often been portrayed in like cartoons and old movies as kind of a gag or a running joke. But these things actually really do happen, and it can be tragic, and it can be a very exactly. And I know that these aren't the only two cases where this has happened. I know other people, stunt workers or just other actors in general get injured all the time. This is not to compare at all to the two, these two folks actually being killed on set, but in Django Unchained, I don't know if you've seen that movie. Oh yeah, but there's
Leonardo DiCaprio scene.
Exactly. He actually fucked his hand up doing that. And I mean, there were
tell if they haven't seen it.
There's a scene. Okay, you're right. Thank you.
All people saw was
I
us
should just assume
slam our hand down. People listening to the podcast don't know that we're
clapping.
Even doing that. Yeah, we're clapping weirdly.
Like, what? So yes, I guess I shouldn't assume that everyone listening has seen Django Unchained.
But you should.
There's a scene. Leo DiCaprio essentially plays the villain in that
you're
movie.
On a nickname basis with him? Great.
Me and Leo. Yeah. It's like that. So I don't have time to say all those syllables. So there's a scene where he's very upset and furious, and they're at a dinner table and he's yelling at his guests about something. I actually don't want to give it away, because if you haven't seen it, you definitely need to go watch this movie, because it's one of Quentin Tarantino's best movies. And as he's angry, yelling at these people, he's like slamming his hand on the table. And Leonardo DiCaprio, full name for you, he is in total full-on method acting mode, staying in character, and slams his hand on a glass that is sitting, like a drinking glass, or like a whiskey tumbler, I guess, that's sitting on the table. And he actually smashed it with his hand out of like acting so angry in that scene. It wasn't prop glass. It was a real whiskey tumbler.
Crystal glass, yeah.
And we know this because he lifts his hand back up and there's blood all over his hands. It was real glass, y'all. Quentin Tarantino kept that shot in the movie because he was like, no, that was the best acting I've ever seen in my life.
He kept acting through it too.
He kept acting through it. He like looked at his hand and kind of like chuckled as he like wiped it a little bit, which I'm guessing was ad-libbing because he was not supposed to cut his hand, but he acted through it and it fit so perfectly into the film. Yeah. So yes, this is all to say, again, even I won't call that a minor injury, but injuries happen all the time on the set, whether it's just because of like the actor getting so into it, or just straight up negligence, or, mismanagement, or just some miscommunication, or whatever that leads to even greater repercussions.
Yeah.
Sorry,
No, I literally just want to like also be involved in naming different accidents that have happened. And there's just a lot that happened during the filming of Lord of the Rings, from like broken toes to broken ribs to like almost drownings and having to be like rushed to the hospital. Like if you watch Lord of the Rings with someone who like knows all the fun facts, we're going to be really annoying being like, did you know he broke his toe after that scene?
You're taking the excitement away from it.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but yes, that's to say, especially with big action movies and all that, which The Crow and Rust are both supposed to be, or well, The Crow came out. Which, by the way, like thankfully, I guess Brandon Lee did finish most of his scenes for that movie, but he did not actually finish all of it, and so they had to rewrite, re-edit, rework it. And this was during the 90s too. Like stuff wasn't like, the technology was not as good. But it's a super popular movie. It made that, I think, I forget who made it, like what studio, whatever, but it was hugely financially successful. Unfortunately, it was like both his breakout role and his last
that's so
role. I
fucked
just
up.
can't get over it. 28 years old. Yeah. And, you know,
Yeah.
poor, like his whole family. It's just, yeah, that one's so sad. And like,
They all are, yeah.
Helena Hutchins, but that's just, it's crazy. Again, just the reality of this Darkwing Duck episode
Is like very, very real.
Yes.
Which,
so
like,
what?
Damn.
Go ahead.
Disney just really, something was happening with like the writer's room in Darkwing Duck.
Yeah. I mean, and again, this was a year and a half before The Crow. But again, it's not like The Crow was the first time someone had gotten killed or even injured on set. So, all right.
So here we are.
So here we are.
Great.
This episode of Darkwing Duck, it of course takes place on the set of a major motion picture that has decided to film in St. Canard. And this motion picture set is haunted by a number of alleged phantoms that are wreaking havoc and injuring numerous actors and crew members.
Ooh,
so also kind of like combining some Scooby-Doo themes here, I guess, too, because we've got like legit phantoms. So in our previous episodes, we have discussed the numerous successful plots carried out by Fowl and these like local level criminals who are clearly just like bankrupting the town of St. Canard. So they are probably thrilled to have this big budget action movie come to town to film, you know, give them some free PR, light a fire under like local economic development and all that. They need some help, right? Yeah. So enter the biggest, baddest, overblown movie series in St. Canard, Space Duck.
I am so interested in this film already. Would watch.
Much like this podcast, if I do say so myself, this film had it all. It had action, it had adventure, it had history, everything. But unlike this podcast, in space, because yes, it was a space odyssey, a period piece, and a superhero flick, all unneatly packed into one. Unlike this podcast, we pack our things very neatly together. So we've got some similarities and some differences. And
we are not ducks.
We are not ducks or any other animals that I will soon be describing. So let me describe this film a little bit more here.
Okay.
The star or the lead actress, at least in the film, is a woman by the name of Gloria Swansong. And she's described later on in the episode by LP as a star of stage, screen, and countless deodorant commercials. So she's big shit, y'all.
Damn, she got a sponsorship.
And she's like portrayed, again, female characters getting the short end of the stick in the show. She's portrayed as like the type A Hollywood elite. You know, very difficult to work with and demanding, probably has a rider the length of a fucking CVS receipt. And so, you know, she's got like she's very tall and she has long brown hair. And I guess we can assume that she's a swan because of her name, but she honestly just looks like all of the other ducks in the show. So I'm
just a taller one.
Exactly. I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. Whatever. She's some sort of waterfowl. And an interesting point of note about Gloria Swansong is that she has been married, according to tabloids, 27 times.
Damn,
and all 27 of her ex-husbands are now allegedly dead.
Oh, no, she's a Black Widow.
Apparently. Okay.
Oh, no.
So she is the leading actress in this movie. And this movie is being produced by the tiny, high-strung, money-tight ferret in a business suit who is named A.F. Errett. So a ferret. Which actually he gets pissed when people call him Mr. Ferret. Like he blows a gasket. So it's like a running gag in this episode as well. DW keeps calling him Mr. Ferret just to piss him off. Like he knows it's not his name. And he knows this because the name of the studio that A.F. Errett owns is literally called A.F. Errett Productions.
Got it.
And so this is the big budget St. Canardian studio behind Space Duck. Attack of the Teenage Mutant Martian Mallards 12.
Oh my, 12.
Well,
oh God, okay.
So I'm not sure if it's the 12th attack by the Teenage Mutant Martian Mallards or if it's just the 12th Space Duck movie.
I feel like
but
it's
either
the 12th
way,
Space Duck movie.
I hope so.
The
Because
vibe.
if not, then that means that it's probably actually like the 30th Space Duck movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this is the big budget film that's come to town, and it is being directed by a male walrus
Okay.
known as known by the name of Arturo Toscanini.
Wow.
Yes.
How does he walk? Is he like up on his like?
He's got legs.
Fins?
Yeah, he's not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not like like
blubbering
mermaiding
around.
it, like blubbering around. Like
Okay.
I don't think. I'm
Picture.
pretty sure he has legs. Yeah, but he's like very big bellied guy. Has a like
Mustache.
beard, and he's got like a pencil mustache and like a very thick, like almost Santa Claus beard, and
okay.
It's interesting combo. And he's wearing like director's clothes, like on set vest and all of that. So Arturo Toscanini, though, turns out he is actually Toscanini, which, okay, let me skip. I was going to mention it later, but we're laughing about his name too much. His name is a parody or a pun of an Italian conductor named Arturo Toscanini.
God damn it. They didn't even try that hard to change that one.
Try. They're like, man, what can we do? Although, I mean, he's a conductor, not a director, but yeah, whatever. Toscanini.
Wow, that was for like the very cultured pinkies up watchers of Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, because I think this guy died long before Darkwing Duck ever came out. So this was for like the grandparents watching Darkwing Duck. Perhaps they were familiar with this guy. He was like a very famous conductor on TV and in film, whatever. But no one watching Darkwing Duck at that time knew that.
Same. So, I still barely knew that. Go on.
I know. I learned it for writing this episode. So Arturo Toscanini, damn it. It's going to be like Jay Gander Hoover. I was going to call him Jay. Yeah, I'm going to keep now calling him by the real world name.
We get the picture.
Exactly. You get it. Turns out, though, he is a longtime foe of Darkwing Duck. And I'll get into all of that later. Okay. But as it turns out, time and time again in the past, before this episode, many of his villainous schemes were foiled by Darkwing Duck. And they have a long history, apparently, of batting heads, of Toscanini being sent to prison or wherever, getting locked up because he's always stopped by Darkwing Duck. And so after
he's the director of this film?
He's the director of this
classic
movie
Hollywood.
Because after so many times being locked up, he decided to abandon his life of crime in exchange for a life in cinema. And and so apparently he was actually an actor like before he started a life of crime. So there is like a connection there. Apparently they don't get all into that in this episode, but it's not like he just randomly was like, oh, what can I do now? Oh, I'll be a Hollywood director. Like, no, he actually was an actor at one point before as well.
Interesting.
So anyway, this guy, he's like very over dramatic. He's pretty arrogant. Like he's always, the way I just said, like director and actor, like that's how he talks all the time. It's very annoying. Great. And I'm not sure if this is always the case with Toscanini, but at least in this episode, he's accompanied by 3 little like evil penguin henchmen who are all adorably wearing like cute red bow ties. Yeah, they're so cute. But they also are like always like looking very evil, which actually makes them look even cuter. Yeah. So that is our director, I guess. And you could call the you could call his henchmen like the PAs, maybe the production assistants, or like maybe the cinematographers. They do some camera work every now and again for him.
Great.
And then the last person involved kind of with the film production that I'll talk about very briefly is, he doesn't really have a name until the very end of the episode. So I'll name him then, but I'll just describe him. It's the like head of security or the security guard. He pops up very often because early on in the episode, Darkwing Duck, he kind of is like causing some trouble around the set. And so they have to kick him out. And the security becomes like a very prominent role in like making sure that he stays off of set. So I'll mention him a few times. And so, in fact, the first of these many interruptions to the production, it happens right at the top of the episode. So, okay, like I said, stick with me, y'all.
Okay.
I know
I'm in it.
Darkwing Duck is cruising around the city of St. Canard, narrating his life as the hero, the Caped Crusader, protecting the streets late at night. And he remembers, though, that he has one last stop to make before he returns to his lair or wherever. He's got to pick up his daughter from the movies. His daughter, yes, his daughter. Now, this is the first episode we're talking about the daughter.
Yeah, it is.
But let me just say very quickly. So he's picking up his daughter, Gosselin, from the movies. And as he's on his way to pick her up, he sees what he believes to be a UFO hovering over downtown St. Canard. And so he's like, oh, shoot, I got to make a pit stop and go save the day. And so he springs into action. He motors over to this impending alien invasion. And he literally turns fight mode, like cranks that dial all the way up.
Crank it to 11.
All the way. Starts just like kicking the shit out of these like Martians that are on the street, like literally going bonkers on them. And he's, feeling himself like, look at me saving the day from this Martian invasion, until he hears a very loud cut.
Oh no. It's committed assault. Great.
Yes. Darkwing Duck has just assaulted an innocent actor who was just playing his role as a Martian alien invader attacking Space Duck on the streets of wherever Space Duck lives. And so Darkwing, he realizes that this is a film set. And that he has unfortunately just interrupted what was probably a very expensive, second unit, action-packed battle scene with the main hero. And Tuscanini is furious. He's like yelling at him, like, what the fuck are you doing? But before we jump back into that, let's rewind to the part where Darkwing Duck has a daughter.
Right. And he hasn't picked her up yet, by the way.
Well, here's the thing. He finds out that she is actually on the movie set. I'm going to get to that in a second, but I'm sorry, I can't skip past the fact that Darkwing has a daughter. Now, she is an adopted daughter. Yes. Again, her name is Gosselin. She is also a duck, but she's got like red hair and pigtails. She's very young and very annoying. AKA she's 9 and she's like a spirited, spunky. Honestly, she's like a little tomboyish, like very intelligent young girl. So I think really for me, it was just the shock of learning that DW had a daughter. Because again, I did not watch the show that much growing up, and either I forgot about her entirely or I never really saw any episodes with her in it, because she's not in every episode.
Yeah. Well, and of rewatching now, the first 2 episodes that you can't get on Disney Plus are the story in which she comes to his life. Yes. So that's also probably part of your confusion.
Yes. It is. That would have been extremely helpful.
Basically, a long story short of her grandpa, basically her whole family was murdered by Fowl, and DW saved her type of thing.
Gotcha.
Fowl was trying to kidnap her, so thus I think why she knows who DW is. Yeah. That's why he ended up adopting her. So her family has ties to all of that stuff. So.
Gotcha. But anyway, I'll quickly add to that. She is typically accompanied by her buddy Honker Muddlefoot. He is also a 9-year-old bird of sorts. I think Google said he was a duck, but he definitely has a chicken beak. So again, TBD. I don't know, TBD or probably not TBD.
To be never determined.
TBND. So back to our story.
Yes.
So Gosselin and Honker, they are very obsessed with the Space Duck franchise. And her, Honker, and LP, Launchpad McQuack, they were actually on the set watching production. Yeah, I guess you can just have like audience members just standing behind a little fence, which they did used to do that sometimes. But filming is way different now, and fans are way crazier now, so can't quite do that. But anyway, they were all just like sitting there watching actually as this movie was being produced. So they also weren't at the movies. So maybe DW is not the best father because he does not know the whereabouts of his child. And it's seriously just sheer luck that she ended up being at this place where he thought an alien invasion was going down. So anyway, they try to calm DW down after he assaults the actors on set, interrupting the filming, telling him like, no, Dad, like this is the Space Duck film set. We're actually just here watching. You need to like calm down and stand behind this fence if you want to stick with us. And up until DW crashed the set of this movie, production was actually going like pretty well. It was off to a relatively smooth start. I mentioned there were some big budget scenes in the works, and the studio, they were probably operating in the red a little bit to get this movie out. But A.F. Ferret was pretty confident that Ferret. He was generally like optimistic that they would make enough money. The movie would at least break even on, all of that, and the studio would be okay. But literally, as soon as DW arrived, everything began to crumble.
Oh, no.
And a series of horrifying crimes just started to plague the film set. So it started, obviously, with his assault and his ruining that very expensive scene, which I guess I could only take one take of, or get one take of.
To have a UFO flying through the city.
It's tough. Yeah, you gotta get permits with the FAA and with your local like council.
Yeah, probably the county had to get involved.
Yeah, it's a lot. I get it. But damn, a lot of money wasted.
Yep.
So this sorry, it's so funny. No. It's not funny. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that, because this is where it relates to the real life shit. After
we manage things with laughter, it's okay.
Yes, thank you. This is our coping mechanism. So, and again, this is a year and a half before The Crow. DW is pulled behind a fence. Tuscanini yells at him saying, "You need to be quiet on set." And he like keeps interrupting as well, because the lead actor is awful, and it's Space Duck, so he's playing a hero. And DW is like, "Well, I am a hero, so I know."
Oh no.
And he's like saying, "No, are you kidding me? Like, don't read your line like that." He's calling cut from the sidelines, and all. It's just chaos. Everyone's confused, and like, it becomes chaotic on the set. And they get back to filming, and a Martian fires a gun at Space Duck and shoots him. And we don't know if Space Duck dies. The actor playing Space Duck dies, but he is, like, it's an emergency situation. He's carted off the set.
Oh my God, they like show like the gun go off and then show an ambulance.
I can't remember if they show the ambulance, because Grace, when the gun goes off, I always get so distracted by that. What happens is this poor supporting character who's just playing a Martian in like this alien military suit. No. He fires this in all of the chaos of, DW screaming.
Yeah. The director screaming. Yeah.
A.F. Ferret's on set, and he's like yelling because DW fucked shit up too. Like it's chaos. Everyone is mad, tired. It's late.
Yeah.
And this poor supporting actor shoots the gun off, and you see just like it, smoke goes off in front of the lead actor's face, and the supporting actor's like, "Oh goodness, this gun was loaded." It's just like, he says it in the weirdest voice, and it's
like a
so
grandma.
Bad. Yeah. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's so bittersweet because it's so funny, but it happens after such a very bad thing. Yes. So comedic
Wow.
timing. I'll say it's perfect actually, because
Yeah.
I have an inappropriate sense of humor.
Good.
But anyway, so that's the first. We've got a full-on injury. Again, I can't remember if the lead actor was murdered, but he's gone. He's off the set.
Gone. Great.
And at this point, everyone's like, well, how the hell did this gun get loaded? And DW decides, all right, time to launch a full-scale investigation. Obviously, something wrong must be going on this set if it's Tuscernini who's behind the film. Right? So he's starting to like put some pieces together.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, Tuscernini is like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm just trying to get this film done.
Great. Like, I turned over a new leaf.
Exactly. I left my life of crime behind me. I'm a director who just loves the cinema, and I just need to see this film being completed. AF Garrett's pissed off. Like, now we got to recast people. I'm going to lose so much money. Whatever.
True.
Mess is just, it's crazy. So DW is like, all right, well, Tuscernini, you're still my prime suspect, but I am going to take the liberty to investigate this crime. But he's kicked off of set. The security guard comes in because again, he's just been interrupting left and right over and over again. And so I think it might be the next day, because then it's light out. Everyone's gone. He sends like Gosselin and all them home. And he and Launchpad decide that they need to sneak back onto the set to do some more investigating. Okay. And so to do this, they essentially, you know how studios have like, or at least when you think of like Hollywood studios from back in like the 60s and stuff, they have like those high walls or whatever outside of them.
Oh yeah.
It's whatever, like Studio City or whatever. Yeah. He essentially like pole vaults or whatever over this wall to sneak back in, like not sneaky whatsoever. Yeah. And even less sneakily, he's like yelling.
Of course.
A classic
entering
DW
lines.
Entering line. He says, I am the terror that flaps in the night. I am the hair in the lens of your projector. I am Darkwing Duck. And again, he's like yelling this, so not really sneaking in.
Everyone knows you're here.
It works. And meanwhile, LP is like scaling and climbing over it.
Oh, poor LP.
And he's just like, DW, why do we have to come in this way? He's like, because I got kicked out, dude. I can't just like walk in. Yeah. So they, trick their way past security and back onto the film set. And they go to the area where things are currently being filmed. And so meanwhile, while they're sneaking in, we see AF Garrett in distress. He's like in his office or, reviewing the tapes and everything, like absolutely livid that, his production company may go out of business because not only did DW ruin that very expensive scene, but now their lead actor is also either, dead or at least he's out of the movie. Right. They've got to recast. So he's freaking out, thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to sell. My company's going to go under, all this stuff. We're never going to finish the movie. And we hear him like secretly, perhaps in talks to be like low-key entertaining offers for people to buy the studio, like amidst all of this. So that's kind of like a background thing that's going on where he's like, ooh, I may need to just like get rid of this.
Yeah, get my hands clean.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, sketchy. There's a lot of sketchy people on this.
It's very sketchy. On. Hey,
Hollywood.
That's showbiz,
that's showbiz, baby.
Showbiz. I was going to say Hollywood, but they're not. They're in St. Canard, and I don't want to fit. Well, I don't actually care if I offend people in Hollywood. Whatever. I think it speaks for itself. So anyway, through his stellar investigative skills, though, DW, he comes across this information as well that Eric is potentially thinking of, selling this production studio. And the way that he finds out, it's very funny. He says that he heard it from the former vice president of production, who is now the janitor.
interesting.
Oh boy, that guy, he super got demoted.
Yeah,
Sorry,
what did he do?
What happened? Maybe that's bad. I might write another episode just like imagining the drama between that dude and AF Ferret or something,
right,
and what led him to become the
one too many times.
That actually, you just wrote the episode.
Bam.
That's like 95% likely what happened.
Boom. But they
All
also
right, cool. Don't need to do that episode now.
They didn't want to fire him, so they didn't have to so they wouldn't have to give him like a severance package. So they just demoted him a fuckload.
Janitor. Yeah, yep. It's like he has like a couple extra duties outside of cleaning, so that it's not like, oh no, like we call him a janitor, but he doesn't actually think he's a janitor because like he still has control over like what snacks we have at our meetings or like what trash bags we use, things like that.
Cleaning products, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that
Amazing.
was a very funny line that they threw in there.
Yep.
So DW, though, he finds out this information, this perhaps secret business deal that Eric's got going on in the background, but he is actually more interested in rumors that he's heard about Gloria's swan song. Again, apparently, all of her 27 ex-husbands have died. But according to LP from tabloid magazines that he read at the grocery store, apparently her first dead husband's ghost is believed to have killed her other 26 husbands. And now he haunts the movie set too, or maybe he just haunts her is probably what they're getting at. So perhaps she's not actually the Black Widow, and perhaps it is actually the ghost of her first husband who is haunting her every move.
Murdering.
Yeah. And so, yes, very, like I said, many moving parts here. And so DW and LP, like I said, they've made their way, made their way back to, I don't know why that was a tongue twister for me for some reason. Anyway, they made their way back to the set and on to essentially the stage or wherever things were like currently being filmed. And again, the lead actor, he's gone. So they have now replaced him actually with the very actor who shot him. So that very poor.
Oh God, the grandma.
The grandma sounding man. Yeah. Let me know when you watch this episode and just your reaction to his voice, because it's very funny because he uses it again in a minute. And I'm going to imitate him again because it's very funny. So this guy, he's now been cast or, replaced, or he has replaced the lead actor. And he's very nervous, obviously, because he just possibly killed someone. And also because, he's like, is this movie cursed? Like, is someone going to try to kill me? And I will say as well, the beginning of the movie, like I said, it was a space odyssey. You had a Martian alien invasion going on in the city against Space Duck. Well, now the set is like, it's like a Renaissance period piece.
You did say there was history involved.
There's history. It's got it all. Not so neatly tied into a package.
Wow.
And this actor, he's like in full garb. Like with the white wig and everything. Why? And Gloria's swan song is too, like,
oh my God,
busty old Renaissance dress. Yes. And DW's like, wait a minute, what happened to the alien stuff in Tuscany? And he's like, stop talking. We're filming.
Yeah.
And as they're filming, unfortunately, tragedy strikes the film set again when from above the stage. A chandelier falls on the lead actor, aka the formerly supporting actor, aka the one who shot the lead actor initially.
This is like Phantom of the Opera shit.
It is, because immediately after the chandelier falls, everyone is shocked and looks up and they see a phantom standing above, wearing a full brown cloak. His face is covered. I think you just see yellowy eye or some sort of eyes, I think, poking out. Maybe, I don't remember. It's mostly just this brown cloak. And DW is like, time to chase him.
Thank God.
Yeah, he is finally okay, maybe.
Thank God, another murder.
Thank God. Now, this guy, I don't remember if he got murdered. Oh, I forgot to imitate him.
So yes, please give us a line. Deliver us a line.
So as the chandelier is falling, he looks up, he sees it coming down towards him, and he just says, Goodness gracious. Literally just like that, and then it actually goes to commercial break. It's like very funny.
And then you see him like smushed under the chandelier
when they come back.
Good.
It's just his voice. Yeah, so I just said the two lines that guy has during this entire
Which
episode.
Is just only
but
goodness gracious.
Exactly, goodness gracious. And then, yeah, goodness gracious, this gun was loaded or whatever. But yeah, goodness gracious. And his two lines were the funniest lines of this episode, if you ask me, just because of the way that he delivers
the delivery.
Everyone go watch it. Disney Plus. It's hilarious. Anyway, you will definitely laugh at the sound of this guy's voice.
Great.
So anyway, yes, DW. He begins chasing this phantom that just escaped from the studio room that they're in. But meanwhile, out of time and out of options for casting, Tuscanini is like, and Ferret are both kind of like, we're gonna need to like actually pull someone in here. So DW's chase is unfortunately halted when they're like, wait, we need a superhero. You're a superhero.
I knew it.
Yeah, exactly. And so Tuscanini's like gassing him up, like, oh, no, you'll be amazing. You're going to do so well. Just be yourself. You were born for this role. And DW, the total narcissist he is like, you're so right. I was born for this. And so he accepts the role, like totally forgetting about his investigation. And so he gets to set and Gloria is pissed. Apparently no one filled her in on the fact that he is going to be taking this lead role, because she's like, this is the dude who has literally been ruining just about every scene that we've filmed so far. So why him? But Tuscanini, he reassures her, like, it'll be okay. He's a superhero. It'll work out. He just has to be himself. Roll camera. And so in this scene, DW is supposed to be, or his character, Space Duck, I guess, because Space Duck in, the old Wild West is supposed to be saving a damsel in distress from a burning building.
Okay.
And he's trying to read through his lines, it's awful. It's like, jump, my love, I will save you. Like, it's so bad.
Amazing.
But anyway, as he's but what really is stopping him from like getting through these lines is a number of horrible, dangerous objects falling from the sky, either right onto or right next to him.
Oh.
Literally threatening his life, like second after second, as they just continue to roll. I think like Tuscanini says, like, cut after each one, like, take one, take two, take three. It just keeps going. And so then after this scene, so again, obviously the lead actor is still under attack. This movie is still haunted and cursed. And after this scene, Tuscanini is like, all right, well, let's keep filming. The crew takes to the skies, because the next scene is going to involve Space Duck, aka DW, parachuting out of an airplane to save this damsel in distress. I do not know what the fuck this damsel in distress has gotten herself into. Yeah. Why she is being saved from Martians, from a burning building, why she's dressed as like Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, why she's in different like time periods.
Yeah, maybe it's like a time trap. Oh. Time travel. No, I'm not going to go down that road because anyway,
I kind of assumed that it was, but
I guess so.
Well, yeah. Anyways,
anything goes in Darkwing Duck.
Yep, truly.
So while DW is falling out of this plane while attempting the stunts himself, I guess I don't think his parachute opens, either that or he's just like very freaked out by it, because as he's jumping he's like, are you sure I should be doing this? And Tuscanini or like the penguin just kind of like, yeah, nope, go roll camera.
Great.
Very quickly though, as he is getting ready to hit the ground, we see one of the phantoms actually pull like a mattress and like right underneath where DW will fall.
Okay.
And DW lands on the mattress. So we're like, wait,
you don't want to kill him.
Phantom? What? And yeah, it's a bit confusing, but AF Errett, he sees this. He's on set still watching.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, that's it. there's a Phantom just did it. And even though the Phantom doesn't, he's actually helping DW in the production in this instance.
Yeah,
it is a bit confusing, but AF Barrett, he actually kind of like freaks out. Like, you see, there is a Phantom. And he's talking to Gloria Swansong. He is very stressed, and he lets that stress out on Gloria.
Oh.
Because he blames her for the Phantom. He says, you see, there is a Phantom. You and your dead husbands. This is all your fault. Another expensive take. Ruined. He literally says that quote for quote.
Damn.
You and your dead husbands. I was like, oh, my jaw.
You and your 27 dead husbands did this.
It's all you. Yeah, your fault. And she's just like taken aback, clearly, like, what?
She's like, I did not murder them. This is actually a lot of trauma in my life.
Right. Yeah. I guess so. Ferret's not, and I'm going to call him Ferret now because he's an asshole. Ferret is not, he like doesn't really care about, I guess, whether people are getting injured. He just cares about his scenes getting messed up. That's what it's all about, because the scene was messed up when that Phantom went on, across camera and dragged a mattress there and so messed it all up.
So DW wouldn't die. Great.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, it's like, no, I wanted him to die. No, he just didn't want the scene to be ruined, and the Phantom ruined the scene technically. So it's Gloria Swansong's dead husband's fault, aka her fault for having a dead husband. Yeah, I know. His short arms can hardly reach that long. And little ferret arms. Ferrets are so adorable too in real life. So I hate that I have to hate this guy, but I hate this guy. And so at this point, DW, amazingly not injured whatsoever, he decides to put an end to this Phantom business because he's like, I know this thing just saved me, but clearly it's messing up the movie. And this is my big shot. This is my my actor debut, my acting debut.
It can't ruin it any further.
Yes, exactly. And he starts to actually chase after this Phantom that just was on set. But as he closes in, again, Tuscarini kind of intercepts him and is like, no. Before you go off doing that, we have to film your final scene. Yeah, it's like, yeah, finish this movie. Yeah, right. I don't, whatever. And we'll see. Well, I'll flesh this out a little bit more. Okay. And yet again, this is another big budget action-packed shot where I quote Tuscarini almost directly here. The hero must escape from a circus wagon rigged with tons of explosives. Yeah, so now they are at a carnival. And so DW's a little confused. He's like, wait, why does the set keep changing? Like, that is a point, kind of like a running gag throughout the joke. I know I'm explaining it as if this is just like a ridiculous movie, but DW is actually noticing this as well. Film? Yeah, this isn't just like a crazy cartoon. This is like a part of this elaborate criminal scheme that is going on here. Okay. And so Tuscarini, he's explaining this big explosion scene to DW, and he's actually tying him up in rope as he's explaining it. Okay. And he throws him into this carnival wagon, this like circus wagon, whatever, and locks the gate or whatever.
Oh no.
And then he says, and now, Darkwing Duck, let us proceed with what shall truly be the final scene for you and your friends.
Oh no.
And the camera pans out and we see LP, Gloria Swansong, and AF Barrett all tied up in the circus wagon.
Oh no.
And DW, he's very shocked. He's like, oh my God, everyone is in here.
Oh, no.
But he's more so shocked because this is supposed to be his big scene. What are you doing here? This is my scene.
I am the star.
LP. Also, LP, where have you even been for the past, however, which that's a whole side plot. I might mention it at the end when I get through the main story. But yeah, he's like, what the hell? This is my scene. But then he soon realizes even more threateningly that, wait a minute, oh shit, this is dangerous.
We're about to be murdered.
Yes, because Tuscarini actually tells them essentially they're about to be murdered. He says, yes, it is indeed your big scene, DW, your death scene. And he begins maniacally laughing. So yes, Tuscarini, he's not the innocent reformed criminal that we all thought he was. More on that in a second.
Yeah.
Gloria, meanwhile, is in this wagon freaking out.
She's like, I'm not
She's
signing
like,
up for this shit.
she's praying to all of her husbands. I can't remember a lot of their names. They had like very obscure, it's like Fernandez, Vincent, blah, 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 whomever, however you are, please spare us. She's like going through all of their names.
Amazing.
And DW is like, everyone shut up. I'm trying to make sense of what's going on. Like, Lori, stop freaking out.
This is such like an elaborate plot to get DW. I know you're going to go into it, but I'm going into it right now. Great. So he pieces together all of this stuff and is like, holy shit, this really was Arturo Toscanini the entire time. But what exactly was the plan? And actually, okay, before I go through the plan, because it's very funny, Arturo's like, yes, it was indeed me, and I had the help of the Phantom. And a Phantom comes up like next to him, and he pulls the cloak off. He pulls the cloak off of the Phantom, and it's all the penguins just standing on each other's shoulders. That's even better.
And it's hilarious because they're like wobbling, and like they actually, like in their eyes, you can see how they're like, oh shit, my fault.
This whole time, every time, by the way, you mentioned the penguins, I just think of like Adventure Time, like Gunther, like the Ice King's penguins.
Honestly, it kind of is like if you were like a little taller and had a red bow tie.
Yeah, and just like being like having to just do all of the bumbling.
Literally is it. Honestly, that might have been inspiration because they're literally henchmen, just like, oh, dude, set up this camera, and they all like run over and waddle over, like, and like always look evil until this one moment when they're like super off balance and look like, oh shit, wait, stop. It's so funny.
I love them.
Except for the fact that they're evil, but again, that adds to their adorableness. So anyway, so they were apparently at least one of these Phantoms that have been running around set, which a few continuity errors there, if you ask me. I'm not going to go into it though. We're not here to talk about the actual like animation or like any of that. I mean, I guess kind of we are, but I'm not going to go into it because it's still a fun episode. Yes. Whatever. So anyway, Toscanini's big plan. What the hell is going on here? What is he doing? Why is he acting like he's a reformed criminal? Criminal?
What is he?
What is he?
What are you? Who am I?
Toscanini apparently wanted to acquire the land on which this production studio sat. Why, you may ask? Well, because a common theme in these episodes, it's oil rich, of course.
Are you kidding me?
Oil again. Yes, it is oil. Now, I don't know if this is some sort of play on like the La Brea tar pits or something. I'm not sure. I didn't look into it. But yeah.
What?
And let me get through a couple lines, and then I'm going to take a quick break to let's talk about this.
Move forward.
So with the help of his 3 penguin henchmen, he planned on tanking the film production through a series of on-set accidents and ruining these big budget scenes. And the lawsuits and liability from the accidents, along with all of the money wasted on these big scenes, would eventually force AF Aired's production company into bankruptcy, which would allow Toscanini to swoop in, buy the studio. I don't know where he got money from to buy it, but I guess maybe he's thinking he'll make it like literally worthless, like someone will buy it for anything. I don't know. And then he would thus control the liquid gold underneath.
God.
So he, actually, we'll pause there before we finish his attempt. There are scenes, and so you actually find this information out very early in the episode, but I wanted to wait until the end because, I wanted it to be like the mystery of, oh my God, who's behind all of this?
And like, why?
But there are multiple times throughout the actual episode, if you all go and watch it, where he'll do the smallest thing, like poke a stick in the ground and oil will just like shoot up. So I'm like, this isn't safe for anything to be on this land. If literally a stick is doing this.
Oh my God.
There are multiple times throughout the episode where he's like, oh, this isn't going how I planned. Darkwing was supposed to be dead by now. Like he was supposed to be killed in scene 30 or whatever.
Jesus.
Yeah, like straight up saying he's trying to murder Darkwing. Disney going all in again.
Dark.
So I just wanted to throw that in very quickly. Now that I've explained his big plan, which again is actually revealed like 10 minutes into the actual
Okay,
episode, but I wanted to hide the ball for those who have not seen this episode. So going back to this circus wagon where our hero...
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Were
they
you
were
going
all
to say
still
something?
alive.
Did you want to say something else before I jump back to that? Yeah.
Is he working for Fowl, or is this all solo?
So Fowl is not mentioned at all in this episode. Yeah. So this is a solo plot.
I'm just like,
he may have worked for Fowl in other episodes. I forget, but yeah, this is all local
solo
level crime. Yes.
I'm just so stunned and flabbergasted by like the intricacies of this plan.
Yeah, I know.
Like, why couldn't he just like offer to buy the land to begin with? I'm sure also doesn't the city or county or state of wherever St. Canard is know about this? Don't they have like...
You're asking a lot of great questions, Grace.
Like, there's got to be some like valid... there's probably an oil company who already knows that these deposits are there. Did they have valid existing claims?
Yeah, like, exactly. Were there already patents on that land, or oil patents from way back when in the day, when like old school Western expansion folks had already claimed that? Someone had to know. Like, it's got to be on a record somewhere in the county. This
random walrus knows, someone else knows. I'm just...
It's a lot. It's a
got a lot of questions.
The only thing I'll say, the only question that I think I can address of yours is why he wouldn't just offer to buy it as like a normal person. He probably didn't have that much money because he's been in and out of jail all this time. So he wanted to definitely like ruin, like totally
decrease the value.
Decrease the value as much as he could for the studio. Is that the best way to do it? I don't know, but
I mean,
that's the only semi kind of answer that I have for any of those questions. Everything else is totally legit.
My follow-up to that though is clearly Tuscany doesn't know how real estate works, because in order to buy that, an appraiser is going to need to come in.
Yeah,
the appraiser is going to realize it's oil rich. All of a sudden the appraisal value is going to skyrocket. Everyone else is going to hear about it. It's going to be public knowledge. Everyone's going to swoop in. A bidding war is going to happen for this land.
And it's, to me, wild. Exactly. Which, I guess that's why he had to infiltrate the film crew himself and like try to do it on the inside, I guess.
Yeah, it's a cash for sale by owner situation, cash deal. This is complex.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Okay.
This is Darkwing Duck.
This is Darkwing Duck. All right, let's get back to the almost murder that's about to happen.
Yes.
Also, he's going to cause an explosion on like oil-rich land. Bad idea.
And he's fully aware that oil is there. So
great.
And this is his plan. This is his plan. Tuscany, not the greatest criminal, but yeah.
Truly.
Let's wrap a bow. Yeah, we'll do this real quick because I've got a few more lines here.
Okay.
But so yeah, we're back. We see Tuscany has got them all wrapped up in this carnival circus wagon, and he's trying to start the death scene. He's got this like big detonator, the one that you like press the lever down on. Yeah. Good. But right as he's getting ready to press down on it, he starts to hear sirens coming from behind him.
Oh.
And he turns around and we see that it is yet another phantom. Another phantom is rushing towards him, like running with the siren noise coming from its mouth. I don't know.
Somehow.
But yes. But actually, I will explain to you how in just 1 second.
Okay,
I do know how. Sorry. Here's how. As the phantom is closing in on Tuscany, the cloak, it's like running, and the cloak gets caught on like a lighting rig or something, and the cloak comes off, and it's Gosselin and Honker.
Are they on each other's shoulders too?
Gosselin standing on Honker's shoulders, and she's got this like siren megaphone thing that she's like letting off. I don't know. It's strange, but essentially, well, okay, let me say, because this is another backstory to the episode that I didn't include in this real quick in like 2 lines. I'll throw it in throughout the episode. I said before, Gosselin is very like obsessed with, and Honker, they're both obsessed with the Space Duck franchise, and so they're trying to like make sure that the film production doesn't stop because they really want to see the movie come out. And so they're like sneaking into A.F. Errett's office, like, hey, like, could we help you in any way? And he's like pissed, like, security, get these kids out of here.
There's like a murder on the list. What are these kids in here?
I know. And also, like, aren't you Darkwing's kid? Like, he's been fucking up this
Get
movie.
out.
You're all banned. You're banned. And so they also don't want Darkwing to know that they are trying to keep the movie going because they think he wants it shut down because of just all the stuff happening. And so they real quick hide, like they put a cloak over them and hide from him because like they almost pass him on set. That's the gist of it. There's a little bit more, but that's the overall gist of what's going on. And so they were actually the ones in the cloak who pulled the mattress to save him. So I think, yeah. So they're like,
it wasn't the penguins getting a conscience.
Exactly. Which randomly out of nowhere, like, wait, no, we'll save him.
Yeah, we regret it. Okay, that's what I thought the penguins had done. But okay,
so that explains that as well.
Got it.
Yeah, it was hard to like write that in at the time. So I was like, I'm just gonna do like a 2-line explainer of that random like B or C plot to this episode.
Yeah.
So anyway, though, they try to scare Tuscernini away, but they fuck up and their cloak comes off. And literally showing no mercy for these little children, Tuscernini ties them up and throws them in the circus wagon with the rest of them to also kill them. So he tries to continue on with his plan, but before he can hit the death switch, yet another phantom approaches the set. Another third phantom.
Okay.
And this one is like doing this weird like howling noise at the director or at Tuscernini. I don't know why I gave him such authority, whatever. But this time, this phantom is actually able to like somehow fight him. And then the next scene, we see Tuscernini is now tied up and roped up in this wagon with everyone else.
Okay.
But he has like had a full change of heart because he's now like begging DW to save them. Like, please, it's your duty as a hero to save me.
Fish, you were about to kill me.
Sir. This is your fault.
Yeah, you put your
situation. Yeah, these are literally your bombs. Okay.
Yeah.
And so the Phantom, though, now he's got his hands on the detonator.
Oh, so he's still like, I'm still gonna murder everyone.
Mm-hmm. And so this is not the Penguin henchman. So the mystery continues, you all. The mystery continues. But I swear I'm almost done too.
I just want answers.
What is happening? I told you there's so many moving parts here.
Truly.
And so this
is it the union behind it all?
Bringing it all together. The union is trying to save these workers by hurting them, thus bringing an end to production so no more workers can be hurt in the future.
They're proving a point.
That's how you do. You got to play from both sides. So anyway, this Phantom, he's got his hands on the detonator. He's ready to kill this whole big ass group of people now. But before he does that, he decides, why not reveal my secrets to this group of folks that's about to die? So he takes the cloak off. And we see that it is the security guard.
What?
Who I should have described before. He's a dog, by the way. He's a very large dog with like cute floppy ears, whatever. Yeah, it's the security guard who is the third Phantom.
What?
And it turns out he like pulls off a fake mustache too. What none of us would have recognized. But when he pulls off the fake mustache, Gloria Swan song is like, oh my goodness, it's my first husband, Newt Blimmer. His name is Newt Blimmer. And it's funny because she actually could not remember his name for a minute. She's like, it's
which one? Wait, she also like didn't recognize him up until then?
No, he took the mustache.
Oh, because he was wearing the mustache the whole time.
He had the cute fake mustache, so she had no clue who was underneath that. Yeah, literally. Yeah. And so she was like, I thought you were dead after being trampled by lemurs in the Amazon. And he's like, again, with like pure like Shakespearean, whatever, like, I don't know, dialogue. He's like holding his chest like, I used to be an actor. But then he was like angry because after marrying Gloria, he became a faithful house husband, which, I mean, I think that's pretty attractive. I would not think that is like something to be ashamed about.
Yeah,
but it also was, but it was the end of his career. So he was very bitter about that. And he decided that his plan was now to get top billing by killing the leading cast and creators behind the film. So I guess maybe he wants to play Space Duck, this giant dog. I don't know. And he is willing to do it by any means necessary, including killing DW, LP, AF Eric, Gloria, these kids, Tuscanini, like some high profile individuals that he's trying to murder. But while Newt and Gloria are having this exchange of like, what the hell? I thought you were dead. What are you doing? DW is able to like maneuver his gun, and they're bringing guns back, even though we've all clearly learned how dangerous they can be.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
He's able to like sneak it from behind him, and he shoots this shoots something out of it. It's like a robot thing, essentially, that like comes out of it. And as I mentioned before, this very oil rich land, the robot just like stakes in the ground.
Oh no.
And this oil shoots out and just like blows Newt out of the studio.
Oh God.
And then they all get out. I guess, besides Tuscanini and the Penguin henchmen. But everyone else, you know, Gosselin and Honker, all of them, they're safe. They're no longer prisoners. And DW is telling Tuscanini and the Penguins, like, all right, well, this is your last act now. And it's going to be set in the St. Canard prison for the criminally untalented.
Damn.
Which, fair, we called out before, he's not a good criminal. So very appropriate that he's going here. But as I mentioned in previous episodes, my guess is that this prison is like Arkham, and he will probably get out again. Yeah. We'll see Tuscanini one day in the future. So that is the end of this whirlwind of an episode.
So did the dog fake his own death all those years ago? And for like years, like he's been building up to this, and then he conveniently happened to be a security guard on a set in which another villain was already trying to murder everyone, and he just slipped in. Also, did he kill the 26 other husbands?
I think that is, so he is the first husband who, like, they don't explain, but after watching the episode, I was like, okay, so I guess that Newt Blimmer is the one who's actually responsible for killing all of those other guys, perhaps.
Yeah.
And that's like so it's not actually the ghost of her first ex-husband. It is just her first ex-husband.
He's a serial killer.
Yeah, he came up with that elaborate, serial killer over I don't know how many years. Oh God. But he came up with that elaborate plot saying, yes, I was, murdered, or I was trampled by
which also lemurs I don't think live in the Amazon.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I don't think a stampede of them could kill you. It might tickle a little. I guess they have talent or like little claws. So maybe
they do live in the Amazon. They live in Madagascar.
You're like playing with
them.
This
is so cute.
So fun.
Yeah, my friends.
Especially because this guy's like a very big, like giant dog too. Like, no, I don't. Anyway, whatever. So yes, apparently he's had this long thought out plot to just follow Gloria around, killing anyone who she falls in love with, who she marries. And on her part, I guess after 27 times being married, like, you're bound for your ex-husband to run into like your new boss at some point. Like it was only a matter of time until one of these film sets was going to have a villain on it, essentially. After 27.
It's Hollywood. It's showbiz, baby.
Small town. 6 degrees of separation everywhere.
Let me tell ya. Wow, I'm just really caught up about the dog plot on top of everything else. Because all those years ago, and he just heard of divorce.
Right. I mean, you did not have to fake your death and all of that. You could have just, I think it was though, because, all right, we're going to do a little character profile. And because I could have written this episode too, as like psychoanalyzing Newt Blimmer. I'm stuck on it. Just made me realize here's what I'm going to kind of off the cuff.
Let's hear it.
This is my theory.
Wild speculation time.
Wild speculation. We're bringing it into DW. He was upset because he was a house husband. So he knew that if he tried to enter back into the field of acting, he was kind of washed up. He had been off the set, off stage for several years. I don't know if they had kids, but let's pretend maybe they had a couple kids, and he had started to get a little bit of a dad bod. He couldn't quite keep up with, the Hollywood elite, going to the gym, all that, because he was taking care of everything around the house. And so he knew that if there was a divorce, he probably wouldn't be able to get any work really afterwards.
Maybe she made him sign a prenup too, so he wouldn't get anything.
Exactly.
No money.
Now, okay, I'm going to. No, you know what? I won't do this. Never mind. I was going to like draw in some legal stuff, but I'm not going to do it. It's about wills and stuff in LA. The laws are very different.
Well, I was even going to say, like, it's not like he got his own life insurance money. Like, she would have gotten it probably.
Yeah, exactly. True.
So he was penniless anyways after faking his own death, probably.
Still not a very well thought out plan, which is why he, you know, was driven into a life of crime, because he's like, well, I have no other way to make money. But
I'll murder 26
other
murdering
people. Maybe rob their shit. I don't know. But the big thing though is that he knew he wouldn't get work if he just simply divorced her. Also, I mentioned earlier, she has a lot of clout in the industry, like because of how demanding she is and everything around set. Like literally the only reason she had to be hired or casted in that role is because she's so popular and because she has so much clout in Hollywood or showbiz, wherever they are. So maybe she was like also telling people, or he thought that she would tell people not to hire him if they had gotten divorced. It would be
get blacklisted.
Yeah. I can think of some actual real world examples of this. I won't go into that.
I mean,
but yeah,
showbiz, babe.
It's showbiz. It happens. So he was like, well, if I die, then she can't like blacklist me. And then I also, again, there's the life insurance policy that is at issue. He did not think that through. But yeah, that's my only, that's the most wild speculation I can do. I'm exhausted now after that.
Truly.
Kills me.
That one was a journey and a fucking half.
Yeah.
Wow. Good job.
Thank you. So, like I said, wild ride. I did my best. It was crazy. Disney was all over the place with it. But like I said, unfortunately, they were kind of hinting at some very near future events that would happen. Yeah. It is sad. It is sad that, you know, those things do happen in real life on film sets. Yeah. But I'm glad that Darkwing Duck was able to make an investigation out of it. Kids probably learned at a very young age from watching this episode how dangerous a film set can be.
Indeed.
And I guess the final lesson I will say is that, you know, make sure you're thanking your ushers, you're thanking, or at least like when you're watching movies and stuff, like think about the boom operators, think about the camera crew, think about, you know, the people who do the lighting rigs and all that. Like, it's not just the actors and the directors and the main producers that are behind these things. A lot of work goes into these shows and these movies, and really just try to appreciate all of them and make sure, like, look into who they are, or at least, you know, the companies that do it, because like, the credits are there. If you're like me and watch Marvel movies, like you stay till the end of the credits, you see all of that stuff. So just little shout out to them, appreciate them. Thanks. They are often in dangerous situations, and we appreciate the work that they do.
Yeah. Wow, but great job.
Anyway, I'm done. No more. It's a lot.
Wow, good work. I think that's good transition into how folks can spread the word this week. You know, as things are opening back up and stuff, if you are going to the theater, I know we did the movies the other week, but this week, going fully to the theater. You should tell the ushers who help you find your seats about Saturday Morning Mysteries. You know, they have to arrive early. Again, folks are working long hours. Just let them know as they take you to your seats, thank them, and then be like, hey, by the way, Saturday Morning Mysteries. And whisper because you're classy in a theater.
Because the movie will be going. Okay, so on that, not if you're going to the theater, but instead on the whole Hollywood showbiz theme, just like in your favorite actor or celebrities like comments on Instagram, just like leave a comment saying, oh my God, I love this picture. Also watch at Satmore and Mist and tag us in the comment. I mean, who knows who will be scrolling by and will click on it. So just tag us in the comments, or on Twitter, I guess, if it's Instagram, Twitter, or on a YouTube video of theirs, just any of your favorite actor, actresses, social media pages.
Love it.
Just drop a little comment telling them or whomever to watch Satmore and Mist.
Spread the word. Let folks know, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.